here we go again. Jose Mourinho's Benfica taking on Real Madrid. And this club, what they did a month ago in the Champions League group stage against this team specifically, we all thought we were gonna cruise to that top 8 spot. But what happened? 4-2, embarrassing performance from all the players, and we conceded a last minute goal to even let through Benfica just to play this playoff against us. And it was a goalkeeper, Trubin. Yes, he scored the last goal against Real Madrid that basically made this matchup possible. Now, I want to preview this game because this is one of the biggest games in Real Madrid's season so far. And people are going to be acting like it's Benfica and this and that. We saw what happened a month ago. And if these players put in a subpar performance again, we could be seeing a huge upset. But I think there is a key player that was missing against Benfica that not many people are talking about now, but we will get into that later. Probably the most important thing I want to mention even before I get into the details is that this ain't a group stage game. Real Madrid players, this is a playoff where you can get knocked out. You don't have the possibility of losing to Benfica and still going through just because you secured that spot way before in the group stage. No, these are two crucial games, and the first one, which is now on Tuesday, is going to be played in their stadium. Yes, Jose Mourinho and Benfica are going to be home for the first game, which is going to be a huge advantage. And we have to keep them at a minimum in this game because the second game is a huge advantage once again for us. If the second game wasn't at the Santiago Bernabeu, I would be much less confident coming into this fixture. But of course, the Santiago Bernabeu, we will do a preview for that game as well, but we are jumping too ahead now. Why don't we just talk about how important is actually that this is the first leg of this matchup at their home ground, because I do not believe that Real Madrid have learned from their mistakes. And that mistake is just completely disregarding that these teams that play in the Champions League are actually good at football. It's as simple as that. We as a team are constantly undermining every single team that we play just because we are Real Madrid, and that mentality needs to change. Every single team can hurt you on their day. And just look at Benfica. On their day, they beat us 4-2. And we scored 2 goals that were from basically nothing. They were sensational goals from Kylian Mbappe, and the second one was brilliant from Arda Güler, the assist. And Benfica could have scored way more. We need to get that through our head in this first leg. Because if we see, once again, a 2-goal difference from Benfica, which by the way can fully happen, because I definitely do not trust our defense this season, which is gonna be my first point about Real Madrid. Because we all know how our defense has been looking this season. It has just not been Real Madrid quality. Even though it's been mainly injuries that have been happening, and they have been really bad for Real Madrid, especially in that defense. Right back, center back, even left backs have been fully injured for maybe even 2 months in a row. And it has just not been great. Rudiger, he seems to be out of it. Huijsen is just not ready for the top level. Trent has been injured so many times, and he has been injured for basically the whole season. Carreras has had injury problems and disciplinary problems as well with the red card. I mean, it has just gone downhill since we let go of Varane, Pepe, Ramos. It had been going downhill. And of course, my favorite defender in this team, Eder Militao, which just doesn't seem to be lucky with these injuries. He is so injury prone, and that has been our main problem in the defense. Without Thibaut Courtois, players like Sheldarup, Pavlidis, Prestiani, They could have done way more damage in that game in the group stage. It could have been 5, it could have been 6, if we are truly being honest. And that's why I actually want to see Tony Rudiger start with Asensio in this game. I don't want to be seeing Dean Huijsen in this game at all. I just think we need to revert to simple center backs that just defend and do their job. And that is exactly what Rudiger and Asensio offer. They are not the greatest on the ball. They are not the greatest under pressure when it comes to, receiving press from the other team. But Huijsen, He's just not defensively there. And I am not saying that I'm writing off Huijsen for, the rest of his career at Real Madrid. But that game is made for Rudiger and Asensio to lock down their attack. And that's what I want to be seeing in my predicted lineup as well, which we are going to get into at the end of the video, of course, which I think will maybe surprise some of you people. But on the left side, I want to see Alvaro Carreras, of course. I think he didn't have a particularly great game against Benfica in the group stage as well. Nobody did, to be fair. But I think he offers something we have been missing for a long time with Fran Garcia and Ferland Mendy, which is versatility. You have seen it in the game, for example, at the weekend versus Real Sociedad, when he can go on that wing, invert in the midfield, and just get back as soon as he can. Defensively, attacking-wise, passing-wise, he is on another level. But he still needs to get better. He still needs to get better, but I hope he shows that in this game, which will be, I think, his first, real test in the UCL, because the group stage, let's be honest, we underestimate it every single time. Last year we did it, this year we did it in the last game. Unfortunately, this is going to be his biggest test in the Champions League, and I hope he can perform. Now, on that right side is going to be that key player that I was talking about before. Trent Alexander-Arnold has shown us in his first game back from injury, which was Real Sociedad, that he is a generational signing for this team. He can be in the history of this team as soon as he plays a full season. And I think he has the capability to make this team 10 times better, 20 times better. With his passing ability and the ability on the ball, which is so underrated in my opinion. His defending, by the way, gets so detailed, and it's under a microscope every single season in the Premier League, that people are actually forgetting that this is the best playmaking right back of all time. Nobody comes to him when it comes to ability, when to passing, crossing, getting out of tight situations and getting his team from point A to point B in under 3 seconds. He genuinely switches the momentum of the game with a simple pass, with a simple cross, just like that. And it's so important for this Madrid team, because what we have been struggling with, and especially our midfield has been struggling with, is the press. Is the constant pressing. We cannot do it. We cannot press for a full game, because our attackers, let's be honest, Vini, Mbappe, and even if it's maybe Arda, they just don't like to press. And if they do press, there is no structure behind it. Mbappe presses high, Vinicius is tired, Arda presses high, those two are not pressing. And when there's Franco, he's basically the only one pressing. And he, in the 50th minute, he is blowing. He is blowing bubbles because he's too tired. Do I blame him? No. But Trent offers something that we have been missing for a whole season. Somebody that controls our tempo way better than our midfielders. I don't want controlling from Camavinga, Tchouaméni, because they are there to defend and get the ball up the pitch with simple passes, with carrying the ball, progressive carries from Camavinga. Tchouaméni is there to defend. He's the destroyer. But Trent, when he gets on the ball and you see somebody in the attack, you better believe I want you to switch that ball, get us up the pitch, and put pressure on the other team. If you have never played football, you will never understand how much energy this saves from our team. The team will be so much more ready to get back or to press the team when we lose the ball in the attack. It is so important that Trent is in this team, and I hope Arbeloa doesn't do this experiment of Valverde right back again. No, I like what I see against Real Sociedad. Please play that line. Of course, we are going to talk about if Gonzalo Garcia or Mbappe are going to be in that midfield. What do I think is actually better for this game? But it's a little bit later on. I now want to get into the Benfica predicted lineup, which looks like this. And my key point are the wingers. Prestiani and Sheldarup, they gave us so many problems in that game in the group stage that I just have to mention them. Especially Sheldarup, he actually came out after the game and said, I could have scored even more goals. I am angry at myself. And I respect that mentality fully, but I don't think he's like an exceptional player. And Prestiani, I don't think he's like that good on the ball. But they have one thing our wingers are missing, and that is great. They want to fight for Jose, you know. They want to fight, they want to press, they want to do that last run. They want to run those 2 extra yards for them to win the ball and get on the attack. They have something that these players from Madrid are missing, and that is the 100%, 120% actually, will to win this game. And that's what I think can be a huge problem for this Madrid team. Because their midfield, Barreiro, Sudakov, Barrenetxea, even the players on the bench that can start instead of these players, they are decent on the ball. They can be decent on the ball, they can be okay. I'm not expecting them to do any masterclass tactically to play 4 midfielders. I think they're going to stick to their guns. I think Jose Mourinho knows what he's doing in this game. He is going to play defensively. If they get the goal, they are going to go on the attack, as we have seen from the first game. They didn't get scared at all if Mbappe scored or if, you know, we got a chance. No. Jose Mourinho smelled that we just didn't prepare. We just didn't prepare enough for this game. And you could see it fully. The fullbacks were getting cooked for the whole game. Shelderup and Prestiani had so many chances, so many runs in behind, and the defense in the midfield was completely outrun. Which I think Benfica can benefit from massively, and that is when their defenders come in as well. Dal and Dedic, if they can get ready for this run around with the wingers, and they can do an inverted run or, you know, an overlaps, if they can be fit enough for this game, and our fullbacks, Trent and Carreras, don't do their defensive duties 100%, because we've seen many times before this season that Carreras can be too high up the pitch. Trent, injury prone, you know, he's got that, you know, instability in the team. Valverde, he likes to go back, but he's also a more of a forward kind of, you know, oriented player. Tchouaméni can get lost in the sauce, and when the press is too high, he can leave so much space in behind between the defense and the midfield, which I don't want to see. But we need somebody to actually press. As I said before, we have had many problems with this, which I have a solution for in my predicted lineup. Courtois, Trent, Rudiger, Asensio, and Carreras would be my preferable defense for this game. I just think Asensio and Rudiger would work way better than Huijsen in this defense. And Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, I think they played a great game against Real Sociedad, and I want to see that interchanging between Valverde and Trent once again. If Trent goes forward, puts in a cross, Valverde, I want to see you, you know, doing your defensive right back duties as well, and Trent, you know, can slot in the midfield right after. But as I said, I think there's 2 main talking points in this game, which is Gonzalo Garcia or Kylian Mbappe, and who is actually going to press the most from these attackers. Is Arda going to start? Is, you know, Franco Mastantuono going to start? Which, of course, I will get into now. Vinicius Jr. will be on the left side. I think there is no way he doesn't start after that performance against Real Sociedad. He was great. I want to see more from Vinny like that. You know, taking on players, getting those penalties, scoring those penalties, get your confidence up. And I really like his performance that game. Even though he wasn't the best on taking on his fullback, you know, in the free-flowing game, just one-on-ones. But when it came to crunch time, he delivered. That's all I want from Vinny. Now, on the right side, I want to see Franco Mastantuono. Some people may see this as a really big mistake from me because of his first game versus Benfica, of course, in the group stage. But I just need to see him in this game because I want his pressing. I need his fight in this game. I think he's a dog on the pitch for Real Madrid, and he is the only one that is going to give you constant press for 60 minutes, and then we can make that substitution. We can put in Brahim Diaz. We can put in Arda Güler. We can put in somebody else. But if Arda Güler starts, I don't think we will have enough pressing power, especially on that right side where we need it the most. We literally needed the most, and that was our biggest problem, I think, in the game against Real Sociedad, because Arda just didn't have a great game. We could have scored 4, 5, 6 maybe even if Arda Güler was better in this game. And he wasn't winning balls, he was actually losing them, he was actually holding onto the ball too much, and his final pass wasn't that great. But if Franco played that game, I think he would have got way more on the ball. I think he would have been way more confident in the final third. I know his finishing may not be the greatest, but I think his final pass when it comes to making that final decision is better. Now, of course, this can change fully on who starts as a striker. I am going to say that Kylian Mbappe should start this game. This puts Arda Güler way up there on the possibility of starting, because we have seen way before that Arda Güler and Kylian Mbappe can be a deadly duo. Yes, but if it doesn't work out, it's one of the worst combinations on the pitch I have ever seen. There is no press. Arda is frustrated, he's losing the ball. Kylian Mbappe is frustrated, he's losing the ball. Vinicius Jr. has no service because Arda Güler is so one-dimensional when it comes to playing with Kylian Mbappe, and he only tries to find him. That, of course, raises the question, what if it does work? I just wouldn't bank on it. You know, I would bank on Franco Mansono does the dirty work for the other two. Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. receives the balls from Trent, or Fede Valverde is going to be behind them to help them score. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, I trust them to do their defensive duty, and I think that this midfield can actually press way better if Arda Güler is not in there. Of course, Arbeloa can maybe think otherwise. I will never know because I seem to disagree with the Real Madrid coach on a weekly basis, as you have probably seen before. But this is my perfect lineup for this game with Kylian Mbappe, Franco, Trent, of course, and Valverde, I think, being the most important players in this game. While, of course, Camavinga, Tchouaméni can be a huge asset if they have a great game. But that first game against Benfica doesn't really give me, too much confidence in them. I just hope that their defensive duties and Camavinga helps the midfield basically progress the ball up the pitch. That's all I wanted to say about the predicted lineup. Let's now predict the scoreline and who do I think will be the man of the match for this game. Now I think Madrid is actually gonna get a draw at Benfica Stadium. Yes, you might be wondering why did you hype up Trent and these guys so much if you were gonna say just a draw, because I'm just being realistic. I know these players, I know how the rest of the season has gone so far. If we get a draw, I'm gonna be happy. It's not enough for Real Madrid, yes, but for this season, it's plenty. It's plenty, because the next game is at the Santiago Bernabeu. If it was switched and the away leg was the second leg, I would have been way different. This match preview would have been, we need to put 3, past them, at least. Make that cushion, But we don't need to do that. We just get to 2-1, 2-2. That's what I'm expecting. I'm actually going to say it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think Mbappe will score 1 goal. And Vinicius Jr. will score 1 goal as well. And I think Vinicius Jr. will be MVP of this game. But Trent is going to be a close second because he's just going to be so good this game. And if you don't believe me, please tune in for a Tuesday watch along. Real Madrid versus Benfica. I think Benfica can truly hurt Real Madrid if they turn up as they did in the group stage. And Real Madrid just think, wow, they beat us once, it's not going to happen again. No. We need to turn up with a mentality of we cannot lose this game. No matter what team we play, we cannot lose this game. This is the playoffs. We can get knocked out. And Jose Mourinho, we know what he can do. If they get the first goal, tactic masterclass is going to come from that manager. And I already know it. We cannot afford to concede that first goal. But I'm going to predict a 2-2. I think Madrid are going to struggle in the first half. I think we are going to score both of those 2 goals in the second half. Mbappe is going to get the first and Vinicius Jr. is going to get the second. If you have enjoyed this match preview, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for the Barcelona watch along as well. Peace out.